discovery that could take ordinary fat to fix broken bones, torn muscles, and other parts of the body. And in depth tonight, millions of Americans take them, everything from vitamins to diet pills. Does the government really know how safe they are? An NBC News exclusive.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. Wall Street is a tease. First it breaks your heart and your bank account, then it comes back seductively promising better times. Or is this just another setup for another fall? Today the market set hearts aflutter again. The Dow was up more than 2.5% today to close above 10,000 again for the first time in almost a month. NASDAQ was up 6% on the day, more than 106 points. While almost no one is ready to say the worst is over, an up day is an up day and very welcome in these times. NBC's Ann Thompson tonight with the Smart Money.
Technology stocks for much of this year a drag on Wall Street. Today, rebound and take the markets up with them. For the first time in more than a month, the Dow went back above 10,000. But today, no celebration like the initial crossing in 1999. Instead, a sigh of relief as it and the NASDAQ gained strength. Helped by investors like George Rikos, a 37-year-old tax accountant, today buying Intel and Cisco at what he thinks are bargain prices.
5 years from now, 10 years from now, I think people look back on the past month and say that, this was a great opportunity to buy.
Cheap stock prices, interest rate cuts by the Federal Reserve, and now a rally. The last and crucial piece of what many hope is the formula for a bottom.
One of the strange things about market bottoms is that they tend to occur when the news from companies is quite bad. The market rallies in the face of bad news, and it kind of sneaks up on people. There really isn't a bell that's rung.
Market watchers credit today's rally to a better mood among investors, but wonder how long it will last, especially with companies starting to report first quarter earnings this week, long forecast to be disappointing. One investment strategist believes investors have already taken that into account.
Investors have been very pessimistic and acted on that pessimism. We have a lot of cash on the sidelines to move back into the market once it turns.
How much? The latest numbers show individual investors had $1.1 trillion ready cash sitting in money market accounts at the end of February, an increase of $110 billion from February 2000. Tonight, buyers like George Rikos giving the bulls hope, but few on Wall Street willing to say the bear is dead. Sure of only one thing, that this market has more volatile days in its future. Ann Thompson, NBC News, Chicago.
And if you're looking for some encouraging news on the 24 Americans in China tonight, it may be in the statement of Chinese President Jiang Zemin as he arrived in Uruguay today. Same time, President Bush, while calling this a stalemate, counseled patience. We begin tonight with NBC's Jim Miklaszewski at the Pentagon. Jim?
Tom, negotiations were at a standstill all day. The U.S. waiting for a response from China to its latest proposal. But tonight, some encouraging words from China's top man. In South America tonight, Chinese President Jiang Zemin says for the first time he's confident now both sides can resolve the issue and end the impasse. Still at the White House, President Bush can barely hide his frustration, calling the 10-day standoff a stalemate.
Diplomacy sometimes takes a little longer than people would like.
Too long for Jesse Jackson, who announces today he's ready to go to China to try to break the impasse and free the 24 Americans.
To afford a good face for both countries and enough honor for both to get our soldiers out.
Jackson's got a good track record for freeing American hostages, but the Bush administration still opposes any trip. But are these crew members really hostages? The administration says no. Some in Congress claim, however, China has already put a price on their heads.
They want something to which they're not entitled, an apology. Very soon, we're going to have to call these people what they are, hostages.
In fact, U.S. officials report during questioning the Chinese have been pressuring the 24 American crew members to apologize, but they refuse. Even so, crew members are careful about what they tell U.S. diplomats. It's assumed the Chinese are eavesdropping on their meetings. Meanwhile, in China, they're treating the missing fighter pilot as a national hero. but U.S. intelligence reports show the military cutting back its search efforts. U.S. officials believe now the American crew will not be released until the pilot is officially declared dead. And tonight, Secretary of State Colin Powell leaves on a 3-day trip to Europe. A strong indication that despite what President Zhang had to say today, the American crew will not be released anytime soon. Tom?
Thanks very much, NBC's Jim Miklashevsky, who's at the Pentagon again tonight. The president, as you might expect, is getting no end of unsolicited advice on what he should do if the Chinese don't release those Americans anytime soon. However, as NBC's chief foreign affairs correspondent Andrea Mitchell reports tonight, the presidential choices do come with a lot of baggage. Andrea?
Tom, if the stalemate does not end soon, the administration does have a lot of options to punish China, but most would backfire against the U.S.
As the stalemate goes on, what can the administration do? First, trade sanctions. China sells $80 billion a year more to the U.S. than Americans sell them. Congress could deny China normal trade status in June or block China's entry into the World Trade Organization. But that would hurt U.S. exporters and help China's hardliners.
I think there are elements in the Chinese leadership that would like to see this incident cause China to back away from economic reform.
What about recalling the U.S. ambassador to China, Admiral Joseph Prier? Current and former officials say a really bad idea.
We would be losing the person in China, our person in China, who has the best relationships, the best access, and the greatest authority to talk for the United States.
The most immediate threat, sell destroyers equipped with Aegis anti-missile radar to Taiwan. The administration had been considering a compromise, selling an older system less threatening to China. Now Congress may insist on selling the most advanced weapons to Taiwan. Today, the president is ratcheting up the pressure.
The longer this goes, the more likely it is that it could jeopardize relations, and we certainly don't want that to happen.
Tonight, a top official tells NBC News that they are considering steps if China does not respond in a few days. But so far, the only punishment, Secretary of State Powell tells all U.S. officials to boycott a Chinese party at the embassy here. So no socializing with China until our people are released. Tom?
Thanks very much, NBC's Andrea Mitchell tonight. Now, health, and what could be a very important discovery involving something we've declared war on in this country, fat cells. It turns out those extra pounds we're always trying to get rid of may contain the building blocks for a new healing process. More on that tonight from NBC's chief science correspondent Robert Bazell with a Lifeline report.
Tons of fat removed by liposuction surgery every year from America's bulging bellies and backsides may someday help repair damage to injured joints and other body parts.
We've got a whole new way of thinking about fat tissue. It's no longer just the spare tire that we're all trying to get rid of.
Researchers at UCLA and the University of Pittsburgh announced today that buried within all the hated fat, something potentially valuable. One form of stem cells, the almost magical building blocks that can grow into many other organs. With chemical manipulation in the lab, the scientists have been able to transform these stem cells into muscle, bone, and cartilage, and get pieces of tissue to grow in mice.
The most immediate applications of this technology may be in orthopedic surgery for repairing damaged joints.
Few discoveries in medical science in recent years generate as much excitement as stem cells because of the potential to fix the damage from such a wide range of diseases and injuries, possibly including Parkinson's disease, diabetes, and paralysis.
Stem cells construct tissues. They build other cells, so they generate all the cells of the animal. They generate them in the right place and time and in the right numbers.
There are many kinds of stem cells. They come from bone marrow, blood, brain, and from fetal tissue. But since anti-abortion activists strongly oppose the use of fetal tissue, that branch of stem cell research has been controversial. Does this latest finding in fat mean that the battle over fetal tissue and stem cells is over? Experts say no, because embryonic stem cells still hold the greatest potential to treat many diseases, including problems of the brain and spinal cord. Still, the cells from fat may someday put much of America's excess to very good use. Robert Bazell, NBC News, New York.
And up next, NBC News in depth tonight, a new warning about diet supplements. Is anyone monitoring their safety?
My personal feeling is that it is a medication that is too strong and potentially has too many side effects to be used as a dietary supplement.
An exclusive look tonight at a new report on the dangers of everything from vitamins to supplements. Who is protecting the public health? And when private home security companies make mistakes, innocent people can get hurt. This is a growing problem. But first, the human touch in the standoff with China, showing support for the 24 Americans each day until they come home. The church bells near their home base, Whidbey Island, Washington, will ring 24 times as each of the names is read.
Richard Bensing, Jeremy Crandall, Joseph Edmonds, Shane Osborne, Wendy Westbrook, Rodney Young, Scott Guidry, Marcia Sonnen, Jeffrey Vignery, Richard Prey, Nicholas Mellos, Regina Kaufman.
When I had started, we could walk into the back of production and say, who's got Bill Johnson's computer? And someone in manufacturing would say, I do, Mo. And they you know, that's got to go today. You know, I promised my firstborn that would be on a truck tonight, and they'd say it's done. And people that work at Gateway are extremely passionate about working with people and helping people.
Why so many days in hotels near airports? So you don't have to worry about where to stay, no matter where you touch down. Days in. There you go.
Feeling a little nervous about getting on the bus?
Yeah, I don't want to go.
You have to go to school.
I don't know if I want to go, though.
That'll be fun.
I want to hang out with you.
Girls' first day. Be nice. First days are always a little scary.
I'm going to miss you.
It's gonna be a bride.
Chevy Malibu. It's dependable. Just like you. Chevy Malibu. We'll be there.
Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Vioxx, a prescription medicine available from your doctor. Or call 1-888-VIOXX22 for information. Vioxx.
As an educator, I wanted our architect to see this school with an 8-year-old's wonder. Could he create a launching pad for imaginations, where the environment itself is a teacher, and boredom has nowhere to hide?
When you want an architect to build on your vision, call a member of the American Institute of Architects.
This is more than a building. Miracles happen here.
AIA Architects, building on your vision.
New at 6, more on the Bush administration's budget plan. Will proposed cuts take the wind out of alternative power? Critics warn it couldn't come at a worse time. When the need for power is so crucial, we take a closer look at both sides of the argument. Tonight at 6 on Northwest News Channel 8, where the news comes first.
NBC News in Depth tonight, an exclusive look at a new government study on the safety of dietary supplements. Is anyone watching out for the public health and safety? It's a huge business and growing fast. Sales of dietary supplements, including herbal remedies, went from $9.8 billion in 1995 to almost $15 billion in 1999. But, as NBC's Robert Hager has learned, they're going virtually unregulated, sometimes with tragic results. In Depth tonight.
Dr. Hugh Murray lost his daughter Andrea just 6 weeks after she married. She'd been taking the herbal compound called ephedra to lose weight.
She felt dizzy, and then she passed out, and she was dead.
There's no proof ephedra was to blame, but a New England Journal of Medicine study links it to other deaths. It's one of a vast number of popular dietary supplements, which, because they have natural ingredients, are treated differently from prescription drugs. They can be sold without government approval and without proof of safety. Today, a still unpublished report by the Inspector General of the Department of Health and Human Services, obtained by NBC News, suggests dietary supplements go virtually unregulated. Estimates the government doesn't even hear of 99% of the problems. 158 million Americans take dietary supplements, vitamins, minerals, or herbal products, most presumed to promote health. But the FDA says a small but disturbing number may be harmful, has warned ephedra may be associated with blood pressure problems and strokes. Ginkgo biloba can lead to excessive bleeding, and St. John's wort can block the effectiveness of antiviral drugs.
Right now, consumers, though, are playing a game of Russian roulette because
no one is sorting out products that work from those that don't.
Why not? Critics charge it's because Congress, conscious of the popularity of dietary supplements, protects the industry from having to report problems to the FDA.
If something is marketed as a dietary supplement, the onus is then on the FDA or other regulatory agencies to show that it is unsafe.
But how? The Inspector General's report says in one recent year, when FDA received only 470 reports of bad reactions to dietary supplements, the nation's poison control clinics actually treated 13,000. FDA itself estimates it hears of only 1% of the problems. But the companies that distribute dietary supplements say the system works, and they're committed to providing consumers with the best information possible. And many, like Michelle Edwards, who took ephedra, report good experiences.
It gave me more energy to do things, and it just completely changed my life.
And while FDA has received claims of 70 deaths of ephedra users, an industry-financed study turns up no problems.
The bottom line is that in our studies, we found that there were no real health consequences, significant health consequences to individuals who were taking these products.
But the father of Andrea Murray, who died just after her wedding, has strong feelings.
I personally would like to see ephedra-containing drugs taken off the market.
But today's report says it's the whole system that needs overhaul if the public's to be protected. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
Tomorrow night here on NBC Nightly News, the allergy season is back. It looks like it's going to be a bad one. We'll have the latest on how to cope in our Best Medicine Report. Coming up next, when home alarm companies make dangerous mistakes, and an 8th grade class teaching the world a lesson about life and death, right and wrong on a grand scale.
When I got my cholesterol checked, it was high. Too high. So Liz and I got very careful about what we were eating. We even joined a gym. But my doctor found my cholesterol was still too high.
He's doing everything you asked. Now what?
That's when my doctor added Lipitor.
Lipitor is the #1 prescribed medication for lowering cholesterol. In clinical studies, Lipitor with diet lowered bad cholesterol 39 to 60%, total cholesterol 29 to 45%, triglycerides 19 to 37%. Once-a-day Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver disease or possible liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor about muscle pain or weakness, as they may be signs of serious side effects. Call 1-888-LIPITOR.
Look at those numbers. They're way down.
Lipitor did it. Ask your doctor what Lipitor can do for you. Lipitor, the lower numbers you're looking for.
If you have arthritis pain, there's reason to celebrate. It's Celebrex.
Celebrate, celebrate, come on and celebrate.
Powerful 24-hour relief from osteoarthritis pain and stiffness. Celebrex, the first arthritis medicine that targets only the COX-2 enzyme.
Celebrate, celebrate, come on and celebrate.
Celebrex should not be taken if you've had aspirin-sensitive asthma or allergic reactions due to aspirin or other arthritis medicines, or certain drugs called sulfonamides. In rare cases, serious stomach problems such as bleeding can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have kidney or liver problems.
Celebrate, celebrate, come on and celebrate.
Ask your doctor about Celebrex. Celebrex, the #1 selling brand of prescription arthritis medicine.
Celebrate, celebrate, come on and celebrate.
Come on, let's go. Sweetie, I'm sorry. I can't stay on the line. We're going to miss our flight. Well, I wish you could go too. Yes, I know how much you love Walt Disney World, but we can't take you with us this time. Well, for one thing, I don't think your wife and children would appreciate it.
Okay. If you think a Walt Disney World vacation isn't the same without the kids, you're absolutely right. Call 1-407-WDisney and make the dream come true.
What can I do to help my be confident,
more relaxed,
safe,
understand,
happy, From Parents Magazine and Today.
Sponsored by Kmart.
Next week.
Goldie Hawn and Kate Hudson, tonight on MSNBC.
In Cincinnati today, police fired tear gas and rubber bullets at protesters who took to the streets after the fatal shooting of a 19-year-old black man by a white officer. The city councilman told reporters the police officer was attempting to arrest the young man on misdemeanor warrants when he thought he saw the suspect reach for a weapon. Turns out, however, the suspect was unarmed at the time of the shooting. A frightening story tonight from Florida. A little girl is recovering from a dog bite that happened when police rushed to her family's home, responding to a burglar alarm. Only a big mistake, and it may not be as uncommon as you may think. Here's NBC's justice correspondent, Pete Williams. Anybody have to knock on that door?
10-year-old Devin Batts of Jacksonville, Florida, was on her bed listening to the radio last Friday evening when a police dog suddenly bounded in and attacked her, biting her on the thigh.
He hopped over the table and ran in the room and bit me on my...
The teeth marks clearly visible today, clean through the clothes she was wearing, requiring 8 stitches to close the wound. How could it happen? A security alarm company has now stepped forward to admit it made a critical mistake, directing a local sheriff's deputy to the wrong house.
1824 North Davis Street.
You guys North Davis?
104 North Davis.
Trouble is, the security company now says the alarm actually came from 1824 North Davidson Street, more than a mile away. Nationwide, burglar alarms are a growing source of police calls, with 1 out of every 6 American homes now wired, raising the likelihood that mistakes like this, though rare, will happen more often. And the Florida attack has also renewed a national debate about police dogs, especially since police respond to an average of 1 false alarm from every wired home each year. When the Jacksonville deputies got to Devin's house, they pounded on the door and shouted. Getting no answer, they sent the dog through an open window.
I feel like it could have been prevented. I think they are too quick to send in the dogs.
No comment tonight from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, which has apologized. But many police departments, like this one in Grand Rapids, Michigan, use a less aggressive method when dogs search for a suspect in a house.
We have a police dog. He will find you.
But one thing everyone agrees on tonight, with so many more home security systems in place, the right response begins with the correct address. Pete Williams, NBC News, Washington.
I'll be right back.
You know, if it weren't for my wife's arthritis, she wouldn't be here today. She's always depended on extra strength Bayer for arthritis pain. Nothing worked better.
When Mom had a heart attack, she knew to take original strength Bayer, like the doctor said.
Bayer not only took care of my mom's arthritis pain, aspirin actually helped save her life.
Knowing all that Bayer can do, why would anyone choose another pain reliever?
Bayer, take it for pain, take it for life.
Bring in your appetite, people. Applebee's all-you-can-eat riblets are back. Our one-of-a-kind smoked riblets. All you can eat. It's got to be Applebee's. Eating good, eating good in the neighborhood.
Looking for a quiet moment? Get a quieter cookie. Soft, fruit, chewy Fig Newtons. Time out from the everyday crunch.
Come on, sure.
No, she's doing it again.
Again, Billy?
Sophia? Who are you talking to?
Billy. I will call
Billy? But he's in America.
I know.
Hey, Mama, who is that?
My friend. She's crazy.
She's crazy.
With MSN, you've got the world's #1 messenger service to talk with friends online right from your homepage.
She's doing it again.
This weekend, Enterprise Rent-A-Car announces special low rates from just $9.99 a day. Friday till Monday from just $9.99 a day. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
1-800-RENT-A-CAR. Why so many days-in hotels for the business traveler? So you don't have to figure out where to stay when you're wheeling and dealing and working on the fly. Days in. There you go.
You choose to be healthy. You choose to be successful. You choose to give back. You choose to be yourself. The choices you want, the voice you need to make the most out of life. Today's AARP.
It's CNBC earnings season. As major companies announce their earnings, how should you react? CNBC earnings season, all this week.
Tonight on Headliners and Legends, the superstar mother with a rising star daughter, Goldie and Kate, the whole family picture. Tonight on MSNBC.
The Holocaust, the cold, calculated extermination of millions of Jews, a great evil that must never be forgotten. But how to teach that lesson to a new generation, especially one so far removed from the time, the place, even the victims? Well, as NBC's Fred Francis reports from a corner of Tennessee tonight, perhaps this generation is teaching us.
Whitwell, Tennessee, rural, isolated, and now with something extraordinary.
All right, let's do it.
1,600 people, 10 churches.
Florida. Who's getting Florida?
A middle school, 456 mostly white kids. Only 6 blacks, 1 Hispanic, no Asians, no Catholics, and no Jews. Mostly poor white kids. Half get a free lunch, and yet in this backwoods school, a project like no other to enrich their lives. Teaching of unimaginable hate, as it's never been done. Collecting 6 million paper clips, 1 for each Jew killed by the Nazis. A powerful lesson in tolerance.
And this is an area long known for hating a different color, skin, and different ideas. The Klan, born 100 miles west of here. 40 miles north, the Scopes Monkey Trial, 1925. The prosecuting of the teaching of evolution.
So teaching kids to love all others daunting, the visuals disturbing. Why paper clips? During the war, many Norwegians wore them as a sign of solidarity with Jews.
What went through your mind the first time you saw what happened?
I couldn't believe that it was real, that it really happened.
To be perfectly honest, I wasn't sure we would succeed. People all over the world are helping me to do my job, to teach my children love and respect for humanity.
Worldwide, because German reporters Peter and Dagmar Schroeder wrote a book about the Paperclip Project. They are in Germany today looking for an authentic Nazi boxcar which carried Jews to the camps, to bring here, to hold the paperclips as a memorial.
Just to let people know that we remember what happened and that hopefully it never happens again.
Now daily, 2 boxes of mail, often painful stories.
At the age of 16, I was taken from my family in Paris and shipped off to concentration camps.
8,000 letters inundating the school, always desperate for money for supplies. Letters bringing hope and tears.
My own father was one of these terrible Nazi doctors, and that he committed suicide. This was the very abrupt end of my childhood.
When that letter came, I can remember sitting at my desk, opening that letter, and tears just streamed, and I thought, this is what we're doing. We are helping people to come to terms with what has happened in their lives.
In just 45 minutes on this day,
31,081 is what we're adding.
31,000 memories in barrels holding 2.8 million paper clips and counting. More each day. Symbols of 6 million lost to intolerance. Fred Francis, NBC News, Whitwell, Tennessee.
That's nightly news for this Tuesday night. Don't forget Dateline tonight at 10. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you back here again tomorrow night.
Now at 6, heavy snow is falling in the Cascades. That's good news for skiers, but will it put a dent in our drought? Plus, wind and solar power get short shrift in President Bush's budget. Tonight, a look at his pet projects. And leather prices going up, the story behind the increase. The news at 6 starts now.
From KGW, where the news comes first. This is Northwest News Channel 8 at 6.
Hello, I'm Laurel Porter, in for Tracy Berry.
And I'm Joe Donlin. Thanks for joining us. Our top story tonight at 6. It may be spring, but snow is falling in the Cascades like it's winter. Question is it enough to ease the drought? Tonight we have team coverage. Chief Meteorologist Matt Zafino on how much snow will pile up. First, though, Russ Lewis on Mount Hood. What's it like up there, Russ?
Well, Joe, it is blowing and snowing. Pretty much been like this all day, but you know, this is what you want to see after a dry winter. In fact, I want to show you all day here. It is pretty much accumulated to the tune of, 6 inches of snow or so on Mount Hood. Pretty good accumulation for a one-day storm here. Of course, the skiers and snowboarders love